But again, I think in both cases, he's stepping into what we have constructed as being the way to follow God. He says, there's a better way. And well, let's go on to what he says here. He says, verse 23, yet a time is coming, and now has come. It's the time is now because I'm here. Right? When true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for they are the kind of worshipers the Father seeks. God is spirit, and his worshipers must worship in spirit and truth. He said, listen, you've been worried about on this mountain or in Jerusalem. That's not the key. The key is worshiping me in spirit and in truth. And again, she's accurate. I mean, he is a prophet, but he's gone beyond just being a prophet. And he's speaking. He said, listen, if you really want to know how to worship, it's in spirit and truth. It's inside of you. So, well, she's not quite done yet. Let's see how she responds. She plays the ultimate trump card. She says, the woman said to him, well, I know the Messiah, called Christ, is coming. When he comes, he'll explain everything to us. It's the ultimate answer in a religious conversation. Well, you know what? It's hard for us to tell, Dan. I don't know, Dan. You say your thing, my say. But you know what? When the Messiah comes, he'll make it all. He'll determine it all. And it was the perfect answer because it shuts everything down. Because once you say, well, the Messiah will give us the answer, you go, well, you're right, the Messiah will give us the answer. I mean, a Jew can't argue with that, the Samaritan can't argue with it. It's the ultimate shutdown. Boom, you're in your box, you can't get out of your box. Unless, of course, verse 26, then Jesus declared, well, I who speak to you am he. Let me introduce myself. I'm Jesus Christ, I'm the Messiah. I'm the Son of God. I am who you're talking about. So you might want to take the top off because I'm who you're talking about. I mean, it's brilliant. But it's also compassionate. And Jesus says, listen, you can't put me in a box. I'm just bigger than any box you got. And so there's the woman there, and she's pretty amazed by the whole thing. We'll just real quickly read through this, and then we'll wrap it up here. It says, just then his disciples returned and were surprised to find him talking with a woman. Because again, that's not what he should be doing. A good Jewish man shouldn't be talking to a Samaritan woman. He shouldn't be probably even talking to a woman in the middle of the day, much less a Samaritan woman out by the well. But no one asked him, what do you want, or what are you talking with her for? Because it seems like he's kind of rude. What are you doing, Jesus? What are you talking to her for? Then leaving her water jar, just a simple little phrase there, but she, you know what? Why, for John writing that, why would he want to record that she left her water jar?
It's insignificant.
It's insignificant. Because she really has found that water that you never get thirsty again. So this water jar just really, I mean, it's just so beautiful because it's the same thing as those stone containers back at that wedding feast. We don't really need those anymore. Let's hold this new wine in it. This water jar is really insignificant now. I don't really need it. There's something bigger. There's something better. Anyway, there we go, verse 20. Then leaving her water jar, the woman went back to the town and said to the people, come see a man who told me everything I ever did. I got to tell you, don't you think they kind of chuckled when they heard that? Because, man, lady, we know everything you've ever done. But, all right, okay, And so he says, could this be the Christ? I mean, she's saying, listen, I think this could be the Messiah, the Christ. And they came out of town and made their way towards him. Now, meanwhile, his disciples urged him, Rabbi, eat something. But he said to them, I have food to eat that you know nothing about. Then his disciples said to each other, could someone have brought him food before we got here? God bless them. I could have been a disciple. Because they're just guys, and they don't get the big picture. But I don't think I would either. I know I wouldn't either, because the big picture's going on around me all the time. I don't see it. And so they're just guys. They go like, wow, I guess he ate something. And Jesus says, my food, said Jesus, is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. He says, listen, I got a food that's different than what you're worried about. And then Jesus says this. Now, I want you to think about this. Do you not say, again, he said, isn't there a saying, don't we say this all the time, 4 months more and then the harvest? I think this is a saying that you say when you're out there planting those seeds in your garden, you go like, good grief, will we ever get anything? Don't worry, 4 months from now, this will be a harvest. Gardeners need to think like that. You can't be, Jesus says, hey, don't we have a saying like that? He says, I tell you, open your eyes and look at the fields. They are ripe for harvest. Now, Bob Gibson, favorite passage for missionaries, right? The fields are ripe unto harvest, right? That is a popular one, right? But what's striking when Jesus says this to his disciples? Hey, look around, guys. The fields are ripe unto harvest. What would be striking to them? Well, they don't get it. Okay, they're in Samaria. Hey, if he had said that in Jerusalem, that would have been powerful. Now it's offensive almost. We're in Samaria. We hate these people. He goes, look, the fields are ripening to harvest. They don't want to harvest these people. Later, John will say, should we call down thunder and lightning and destroy their village? Jesus, you didn't really catch this, did you? You know? And stuff. We don't burn the fields of harvest. But anyway, and so he says they're ripe for harvest. It says even now the reaper draws his wages. Even now he harvests the crop. He says, we're harvesting the crop right now, guys. This is it. We're doing it right now. And verse 37, thus the saying, one sows and another reaps is true. I sent you to reap what you have not worked. For others have done the hard work, and you've reaped the benefits of their labor. He says, man, the harvest is right now, guys. You just think we're trying to get through this town, holding our nose and hope we don't get unclean. He goes, we're harvesting right now. Let's go on real quick here. Many of the Samaritans from the town believed in him because of the woman's testimony. He told me everything I ever did. All right, so when the Samaritans came to him, they urged him to stay with them, and he stayed 2 days. Hey, when they got to this village at about noon, his disciples were like, let's get in and out as quickly as we can. Let's get some food. Let's get back home. Let's just keep walking. You know, hopefully nothing bad will happen. And Jesus says, why don't we stay for a couple days? Again, he's just stretching them, but he's staying here for a couple days. Verse 41, and because of his words, many more became believers. Again, there's a favorite little passage here for preachers. They said to the woman, we are no longer believed just because of what you said. Now we have heard for ourselves, and we know this man really is the Savior of the world. They say, you know what, what you said was pretty powerful, but once we came out and met him and got to know him and he spoke to us, we believe for ourselves